in your career, you've done 5 figures, you've done 6, you've done 7, you've done 8. Do you have goals to go to 9, 10, and beyond?
You asked me this 3 years ago. I would say I want to be a billionaire. You asked me today, I still want to be a billionaire, but I would be happily okay if I died at 100 million, right? And people may say, "Oh, that's like anybody would love to have 100 million, of course." But like, again, okay, another book, The Psychology of Money. There's a guy who, again, named Raj, who was like a hedge fund manager who was worth, I think, 200 million. Came from India, the poorest parts of India, and then he ended up making 200 million. Real like zero to hero story, and he was in his own mind insecure because he wasn't sitting at the billionaire's table. Like he would go in rooms and people were like, "Oh, this is the billionaire's table." So he started doing things that, would try to get him to a billionaire, but they were unethical. Ended up landing him in jail, lost all his money, lost his reputation, things of that nature. Even Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff was making 100 million a year before he ever started a Ponzi, and people don't know this. He was running a real good market maker business that was real legitimate, that was making 9 figures. He just wanted more, and he ended up going the Ponzi route, ended up going to jail. It's the whole cycle. So for me, I'm not seeing that in that regard, but one of the things that happened in 2020 that kind of shook me up a little bit was, I think in 2020 I did 6 million that year, and that was the most I've ever made in a year.
Wow.
And at the same time, my wife was extremely unhappy because I wasn't spending any time with her. I was so focused on the business and making money. And I'm thinking I'm taking care of her and protecting her because we was not making this money last year, so she can do whatever she wants, buy whatever she wants, live whatever she wants.
Yeah, but that's not the only thing.
That's not the only thing. They want quality time with their husband and to go back to the old days where we were just chilling and this is before we even had any kids. So last part I said on this question was that, like, so after that happened, reading The Psychology of Money, there was a guy at a party and he had mentioned that he was chilling with his wife, whatever. Another guy came in late to the party. He was like, "Yo, why weren't you at the office? Like, I just made, I think, somebody else's entire net worth in like a few trades. And it took like a couple hours." And the guy said, "Yeah, but I'll have something that you'll never have." And the guy said, "What?" And the dude said, "Enough.
Yeah.
I have enough. I'm good. I'm already worth 9. What do I need more for?" So to answer your question, I would love to be a billionaire. I want to have 100 million, but if I die with 57 million, I'm not going to say I'm a failure. I would be perfectly happy as long as my wife is happy. And I have a daughter right now, I have a son on the way. As long as they're happy and they're good, never got to worry about anything, I did my job.
What was the hardest milestone to hit between 5, 6, 7, and 8 figures?
I think the hardest milestone is thinking doing what worked in the past will always work. You know what I mean? And not expanding more to a better team, but also expanding too quickly, right? So when I was growing, I started hiring people left and right, and I didn't necessarily need that. I needed the right people in the right position. That was one of like the downfalls of me. It was like just giving positions to like friends of mine in the past who was like low on money, but like they could use the money, and I had a position open, but they weren't the most qualified for the position, right? That's one thing. But the second thing is like thinking I'm doing the same thing that works, right? So yeah, some of these videos that I've done organically and launched in this way may have got me to 5, 6, but it's not gonna give me to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And even Q said in the video we just did on my channel where he was like, people like me and you have experience growing a company from 0 to 10 million. We don't have experience growing a company from 10 to 100. Yeah. So he hired a CEO for like most of his businesses who like have a career in, scaling businesses to that level. And I'm like, wow, that's different. I never even thought about that. I'm thinking I just got to learn the ropes myself as opposed to hiring the right person who knows how to put these processes in place to get it to that next level. So I think that was the biggest thing for me to continue to grow was to, one, hire the right people, but two, at the same time, understand what worked in the past can work to a certain extent, but it's not going to just bring money like clockwork. Oh, and last thing is thinking that the business you have in 2020 or 2019 is always going to bring the same amount of revenue.
The marketplace changes.
The market changes, and that gave me a real big wake-up call. Like there was a time where, business-wise, and this is an entrepreneurial podcast, that's why I can talk free like this, because in any of the trading podcasts, I'm not talking like this, right? Yeah. But business-wise, like there was a point where, the company was doing 700, 800K a month.
Wow.
And then it gets to a point, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's great. Like, I keep doing the same things.
And you cruise.
I can cruise. And then when I started cruising, it got to like 100K a month and 200K and then 80K. I'm just like, wait, what changed in these 4 or 5 months? Oh, I didn't do much. I posted one time. I didn't launch anything. I didn't perfect the product, right? I launched the product and made sure everybody was good for a month or two. And then I started falling back and cruising and relaxing. No, you got to keep constantly outpouring and making sure the product and your company is the best it can possibly be.